At the beginning of the drama, we see the female villain, Song Ruo. She is saying to a girl, "What right do you have to love Mr. Mu?" Then, she goes to kill that girl with an injection, but a boy comes and stops her, and that injection ends up being administered to Song Ruo herself. Then, she dies, and the scene shifts. Here, we are shown the female lead, Chiki. She is a drama actress. A small-time director comes to her and says, "You have to do a drama called Night of Love with you." Chiki has a heart disease and can die. But if she keeps kissing a member of the Liu family, she can be saved. However, on her wedding day, she will be killed by the drama's villain, Yahan. Now Chiki says to the boy, "Who hired such a small-time director?" The boy gets angry, pushes Chiki, and she ends up in the drama with the male lead, Munan, on top of her. Seeing him, Ching pushes him, and Munan gets a head injury. Suddenly, someone knocks on the door. Chiki understands she has entered the drama and thinks about running away. She opens the door and says, "Get out of my way, everyone! I have acid!" Then she throws water on everyone and leaves. In fact, these are all Song Ruo's guards. Song Ruo tells her guards, "Go and catch Ching." Everyone goes to catch her. Then, Ching's heart starts to hurt. Seeing a door in front of her, she knocks. Entering the room, she sees the drama's villain, Yahan. She remembers that if she kisses a member of the Mu family, she will be saved. So she kisses Yahan, and her pain gets better. Yahan says, "I don't like girls who do such things." Now Ching remembers that Yahan just wants revenge. Now there's a knock on the door, so Ching says, "Save me. I know a secret of yours, that you are the illegitimate son of the Mu family." So Yahan agrees to help her. Now Song Ruo enters the room and starts looking for Ching. So Yahan covers Ching and lies down on the bed with her. Then he says to Song Ruo, "Will you keep looking at me or will you leave?" So Song Ruo leaves from there. Then Yahan gets off Ching. Then Ching says to Yahan's staff, "Get me out of here." Now the staff brings a nice dress for Ching, and then Ching and Yahan leave the room together. The guards stop them, so Yahan tells them his room number. Then Yahan gets into his car, and Ching says, "I am meeting you at the intersection." Then Yahan's car reaches the intersection, but Ching doesn't show up. So Yahan leaves from there, and Ching intentionally goes her own way. Then Ching's brother, Cheng, comes and tells her, "You have been taken out of school. You have been asked to take up my school's responsibilities." After this, Ching goes to the hospital in Cheng's getup. There, she finds out that Munan is in a coma. So Ching thinks, if Munan dies, then because of my heart disease, I won't be able to kiss him and I will die too. Now, Munan has gone into a coma due to being drugged. Song Ruo tells her staff, Ching did not drug Munan. Munan himself went into the wrong room and took the drug. Now we have to find Ching so we can shut her up. After hearing their conversation, Ching turns around, and Yahan appears in front of her. Yahan takes Ching aside and asks, "How did you know that I am the illegitimate son of the Mu family?" Ching says, "I have a heart disease. If I kiss someone from the Mu family, I can be saved. And when I kissed you, my heart pain lessened. So I thought you were the illegitimate son of the Mu family." Yahan asks, "Should I trust this lie of yours?" Then Ching starts trying to make Yahan trust her on this. She pretends to fall in front of a car, but Yahan doesn't save her. Instead, the car driver scolds Ching and leaves. Ching says to Yahan, "Hey, you were supposed to save me." After this, we see Song Ruo and Yahan. Song Ruo shows Yahan a photo of Ching and asks, "Do you know her?" Now, Ching is under the table, pulling Yahan's clothes so that Yahan doesn't reveal that he recognizes Ching. Now, Yahan changes the subject and says to Song Ruo, "If you make a business deal with the Mu group, our friendship is over." Song Ruo says, "Are you threatening me? Does that mean you know everything?" Hearing this, Ching again pulls Yahan's clothes from under the table. Suddenly, Ching's heart starts to hurt. Because of this, she starts to move, which makes the table move as well. So Song Ruo gets up to see why the table is shaking. Yahan stops her and asks, "Do you need something?" Later, Yahan asks Ching, "Are you trying to frame me?" After this, they are both in the car. Yahan asks Ching, "Do you really have a health issue? Then you won't tell anyone about my identity. Otherwise, you will die." Now Ching plays a recording where the conversation between them about Yahan's identity is recorded. This is the recording from the time when Yahan and Ching talked about his identity in the hospital. Yahan asks, "Are you threatening me?" Ching says, "I check this recording from time to time." This recording could go to the media at any moment. After this, they all reach Yahan's house, and Ching decides to stay at Yahan's house. Now, because Ching has blackmailed Yahan with that recording, Yahan is unable to refuse her. At night, Yahan can't sleep, so he goes to check Ching's phone. Anyway, then Yahan sees a timer on Ching's phone. Then he starts to wake Ching up, but Ching is dreaming, where she sees Yahan killing her on her own wedding day. Now she starts making different expressions in her sleep. Seeing this, Yahan thinks that Ching is having heart pain again, so he starts kissing her. Now Ching wakes up and is very surprised. She asks, "What are you doing in my room right now?" Yahan says, "This is my house," and then he leaves. The next morning at the breakfast table, there is a special soup for Yahan. Now Ching wants to have that soup. But this soup is for Yahan. But Yahan can't refuse Ching because Ching has blackmailed him with that recording. After this, Ching is looking at the paintings in Yahan's house. These paintings are quite expensive and Ching accidentally gets ice cream on one of them. A little later, she also breaks a vase. So unable to watch all this, Yahan leaves the house. On the other side, Song Ruo tells her staff, "We have to find Ching before Mrs. Mu finds her." Who else is in Ching's family? The staff says, "She has a younger brother." After this, Ching gets a call. A person tells her, "I have kidnapped your brother." Ching asks, "Are you working for Song Ruo?" After this, the person says, "To save your brother, bring the money to the address I give you. Otherwise, you will be killed, and you will get freedom from life." Ching says, "That's a good thing." Now Ching thinks that she won't have to work with Yahan anymore, and she will be free. Now, we are shown Yahan. Ching starts to go towards him, but Yahan's staff stops Ching and says, "You can't go inside, a meeting is going on." But Ching still goes inside and starts to fight with Yahan. Now Yahan's meeting is with Mr. Song. In fact, Mr. Song is Song Ruo's dad. Now, Mr. Song says, "It's a good thing that Yahan has a personal life. If the media finds out about this, everyone will be happy." Then, Yahan gets angry and pushes Ching down. Then he says to Mr. Song, "You have so much trust in the Mu family?" Mr. Song says, "I have seen Mu Nan grow up." Just then, Ching says to Yahan, "Don't do this to me. I am carrying your child in my womb." So then Mr. Song says to Yahan, "Don't contact me after today." And then he leaves from there. Yahan gets very angry and says to Ching, "Do you want to die at my hands?" Ching says, "Yes, please." Saying this, she pushes a knife towards Yahan. Yahan says, "It seems you want to die, but I will not kill you." After this, Yahan goes home, enters a room, and closes the door from the inside. Ching is saying from outside, "Don't do this, you will get sick." After this, the same kidnapper is calling Ching again. She blocks the number. The kidnapper asks Cheng, "Is this your real sister or not?" Cheng says, "I also have my doubts." On the other side, Ching brings one of Yahan's shirts and says, "I washed your shirt." Then she starts to tear the shirt. Yahan doesn't get angry and says, "This is my personal assistant Ying's shirt." Now Ching starts thinking, "How do I convince Yahan to kill me?" Then Yahan is in the washroom where dirty water is coming out. Ching says, "Maybe I touched your pipe. That's why this happened." Yahan turns on a switch and reopens the tap, and the water becomes fine. After this, Yahan is in Ching's room where he sees the door lock password has been changed and asks, "Did you change the password?" Ching says, "Yes." So Yahan sleeps on the bed and throws the pillow down, telling Ching to sleep on the floor. But Ching comes and sleeps on the bed. She says, "Why don't you kill me? Then you can take a lot of time to correct the door's password." Yahan says, "I don't do anything without getting answers to my questions." Now Ching says, "You won't believe my words, that's why I don't tell you the truth. Actually, if you kill me, everything will start all over again." Yahan says, "Between the two of us here, do you think one of us is crazy?" Ching says, "I knew you wouldn't believe it, that's why I didn't say it." Then Yahan gets on top of Ching and says, "Your parents had a car accident. You help with your brother's schooling. You are a soft-hearted girl, but ever since I saw you, I felt you are a clever girl." Ching says, "You've come so close to a pretty girl. Do you love me?" Yahan says, "You behave so strangely. Do you love me?" At this, Ching ignores him and goes to sleep. Later, we see a knock on the door, and Ching opens it. There is a person outside who makes Ching unconscious and takes her away. On the other side, Ying shows Yahan a video where Ching has been kidnapped. On that side, Ching is tied up, and her brother Ching is also tied up next to her. When Ching regains consciousness, she unties herself and then unties Chung. Chung asks, "Weren't you tied up?" Ching says, "Heroines are always tied up loosely." Then they both see a window. Chung tells Ching, "You go first," but Ching says, "You go first and look down to see if there is anything that could hurt us, right?" Chung says, "No." So Ching starts to move forward but gets stuck. Hearing the sound of the kidnappers approaching, Chung starts to climb down. Ching hides, and just then, her heart starts to hurt. The kidnapper sees her and starts to go after her. Just then, Yahan crashes in with his car and stops the kidnapper. Then he starts kissing Ching. Anyway, then, Yahan starts to take Ching back home. Song Ruo sees them both and thinks, "Yahan, why did you save Ching?" At home, Yahan says, "The one who kidnapped you is Song Ruo's man. What did he want to do with you?" Ching says, "He wanted to kill me." Then Ching says, "I'm hungry." Then they both say at the same time, "You cook." At this, they both say to each other, "I don't know how to cook." Just then, Chung comes there and says to Ching, "When I regained consciousness, I saw someone putting you in a car and taking you away. I called out to you guys a lot, but you didn't hear." Ching gives Ching a little love and then says, "Will you cook?" Ching says, "Yes." After some time, Yahan says to Ching, "It's very late, you should go now." and Ching will stay here as my maidservant. Then Yahan asks Ching, "This is the right way to say what you are to me, isn't it?" Ching says, "Yes," but later, Yahan sees Chung is in Ching's room. Suddenly, the power goes out, and because of this, the door gets locked. So then Chung and Ching sleep on one side of the bed. Then they ask Yahan to come and sleep on the bed. Yahan says, "I will sleep in the middle." So the brother and sister go to the ends of the bed, and Yahan sleeps in the middle. Now, Chung falls asleep. Meanwhile, Yahan and Ching are talking. Yahan says, "In reality, you are a good girl. You don't wish ill on anyone." While saying all this, Yahan sees that Ching has fallen asleep. Now, as Ching turns to the other side, she is about to fall. Yahan catches her, and Ching turns towards him, hugs him, and continues sleeping. The next day, Mr. Song calls Yahan to meet him at a hotel. Ching thinks Mr. Song refused to contact him again, so why has he called for a meeting? She also goes to that hotel. Now, Song Ruo comes to Yahan and says, "If I hadn't messaged you from my dad's phone, would you have come?" Then she asks, "Do you know where Ching is?" Now, Ching is listening to this conversation from outside the door. Yahan says, "Yes, I know." He further says, "But if the Song group works with us again, I will tell you this thing." Song Ruo says, "Dad loves me a lot. He will agree to what I say." Yahan says, "But why would Mr. Song agree just based on words?" Song Ruo says, "Are you speaking in support of that part-time working girl?" Yahan says, "That part-time girl is not that dangerous. You have some misunderstanding that she is the one who drugged Moonan, and I will not tell you where she is." So Song Ruo gets angry and leaves from there. Now, as Ching comes inside the room, Song Ruo suddenly comes back. She sees Ching. Ching says to Song Ruo, "I did not drug Moonan. I don't want to kill him. And you think everyone will believe whatever you say is the truth?" Now, Yahan is also about to take Ching from there when his head starts spinning. Here, it is shown in a flashback that Song Ruo has mixed a drug in Yahan's drink. Then Song Ruo says, "Now with your death, the Leng group will also be finished." Then Song Ruo leaves from there. Now Yahan starts acting erratically. He starts getting close to Ching. Ching says, "Yahan, it's me." So Yahan comes to his senses a little and moves back. Just then, the reporters planted by Song Ruo start arriving. So Ching takes a knife and gets herself stabbed by Yahan's hand, so that the story starts from the beginning. Then Ching reaches the road. Moonan regains consciousness. Yahan reaches home. A car hits Ching. Then Moonan gets out of that car and is walking towards Ching. On the other side, Yahan is sitting at the table in his house and asks about Ching. Ying says, "She left us from the very hotel we went to 3 months ago." Over here, seeing Moonan, Ching asks, "Are you all right now?" Moonan says, "Are you one of those girls who fake an accident?" Then Ching pretends to fall, and Moonan catches her. Just then, Moonan's assistant comes, separates them, and says, "Moonan is allergic to girls." Then he checks Moonan and says, "He's fine." After this, Moonan gives Ching money and leaves. Ching thinks about buying clothes with that money. But when she goes to put the money in her pocket, she gets stuck and starts saying the dialogue, "I cannot take this money." So she understands that she won't be able to take this money with her. On that side, Song Ruo's mom says, "Since Moonan has come out of the coma after 3 months, let's get him and Song Ruo engaged." Just then, Song Ruo receives a photo where Moonan is holding Ching. Now when Moonan finds out about this engagement, he refuses to do it and says, "I have a girlfriend." Just then, Ching arrives there to return the money. So immediately, Moonan points to Ching and says, "This is my girlfriend." Moonan whispers to Ching, "I don't know who you are, but please help me." Song Ruo says, "The reason you were in a coma for 3 months was because of this girl." Ching says, "I didn't do anything." Moonan says, "I don't remember anything." Ching says, "That day, I received a message that I had to take clothes to Moonan's room." Song Ruo says, "Show me that message." Ching remembers that someone had taken her phone. So she says, "Someone has taken my phone, but I haven't done anything." Just then, Yahan comes there and says that Song Ruo had drugged him. Song Ruo says, "Do you have any proof?" Yahan shows a glass and says, "This is the glass in which you gave me the drug mixed with alcohol, isn't it?" Seeing all this, Moonan's mom remembers that the doctor had also said about Moonan that someone had given him a drug mixed in alcohol to drink. Then she says to Song Ruo, "I did not expect this from you." Song Ruo says, "I don't recognize this glass." Yahan says, "It has your fingerprints on it." Song Ruo says, "But I was wearing gloves that day." Yahan says, "This is what I wanted to make you say." Hearing this, Song Ruo's dad gets very angry at Song Ruo, and everyone starts scolding Song Ruo. Then Song Ruo's dad says to Yahan, "I have something to talk to you about." Now from here, Ching goes to another scene where she is sitting at a table. She returns the money to Moonan, but in her heart, she doesn't like that she has to return the money. Now Moonan also takes the money from her. Anyway, later Yahan says to Ching, "Come home with me. I can't let you stay with Moonan when you have my secret." Ching doesn't agree to Yahan's proposal, So Yahan says, does that mean you chose Moonan between me and him? Now later we see Ching, who is outside. It is raining, so she is protecting a snail from the rain. Just then, Moonan comes to her with an umbrella. Now, in fact, Moonan has remembered that Ching works as a servant at his place. Here, Ching says to Moonan, I was protecting this snail from the rain. Just then, Yahan from inside a shop asks Ching, will you eat this? Ching says, yes. Now, Moonan looks at Ching, which makes Ching say, no, I won't eat it. Why would I eat a snail? Then Ching shifts to another scene where she is given a lot of work. Here, she accidentally spills a drink on a girl's bag. That girl says, what have you done? This bag is more expensive than your life. Ching is about to scold her, but is unable to do so and just says, sorry. Just then, Moonan comes there, gives that girl a pen and says, take this pen. It is more expensive than 10 of your bags. Now after Moonan leaves from here, Ching scolds that girl a lot. But suddenly, Moonan comes up behind Ching and hears all of this. He says to Ching, I thought you were a soft-hearted girl. Anyway, then Ching is outside, and there is a car there. In that car is Yahan, who says to Ching, you are two-faced. Ching says, why did you come here? I told you I won't tell anyone about your secret. After this, Ching is walking down the road. There, a child steals a bun from a bun seller's shop and starts running. The bun seller goes to hit this child, so Ching saves the child and starts running with him. After some time, the child frees his hand from Ching's and says, because of you, one of my buns fell, and he runs away. Suddenly, Ching's heart pain starts. Moonan is coming from the front. So, Yahan takes Ching and hides her, and he kisses her. Now they both feel shy of each other and leave from there, but they both realize that they are going the wrong way. So they take a U-turn and start going the right way. At home, Ching thinks, Yahan saved me so that Moonan doesn't find out about my illness. Yahan thinks, I saved Ching so that Moonan doesn't find out my reality. The next day, Songruo tries to talk to Moonan's mom. So Moonan's mom says, let's drop these matters because now my son is fine. Songruo's dad says to Songruo, don't do anything crazy again. He further says, I have confirmed a deal with Yahan. If you do anything crazy, he will cancel this deal. Now Songruo goes home and starts throwing things. Just then, she sees Ching's phone. She thinks, Ching, I won't spare you. After this, we see Chung. He says to Yahan, I can consider you my brother-in-law. Then he says, I will set you up with my sister. Then Chung selects a dress for his sister and tells her, you have to meet Yahan. He wants to tell you something important. On the other side, Yahan is selecting a tie for himself when Songruo comes to him, shows him Ching's phone and says, I found a recording here. If you want what's good for you, help me take revenge on Ching. Yahan is about to refuse, but he ends up shaking hands with Songruo. When he comes to his senses, he thinks, what have I done? On that side, Ching is waiting for Yahan when a letter comes to her which says, Underground Garage. She goes there and sees that Chung is tied up. Just then, Yahan arrives and says, if you don't confess to the jewel theft, I won't release your brother. Actually, Yahan is doing all this at Songruo's behest. Ching thinks, it seems the villain's role in the drama has started to play out. After this, Ching says, I need to talk to my brother for a little while. Then, Yahan leaves from there, and Ching talks to her brother for a bit and leaves. Now Songruo comes to Yahan and says, looks like you've done my work. Now Ching will become a thief. But why does your face look so down? Yahan doesn't answer her question. Then Songruo leaves, and Yahan faints. On the other side, Moonan's mom says to Moonan, marry Songruo. With this, we will get the support of the Song group. Moonan says, I can't marry her just for that reason. Here, Yahan regains consciousness and is in the hospital. So he asks the doctor, what illness do I have? The doctor says, nothing. You've just taken too much stress. After this, Ching thinks, if I have to steal the family heirloom, then I have to marry Moonan. Then she wears a dress and goes to Moonan's office. She says, you helped me at the hotel that day, so I came to say thank you. Then she starts to walk forward, and suddenly her dress tears. Moonan says, you shouldn't wear low-quality dresses. Now Ching deliberately starts to fall, and Moonan catches her. This happens again twice, but still, Moonan doesn't develop any feelings for Ching. Moonan asks, what happened to you? Ching says, I want to marry you. Now Yahan comes to Moonan's office. Here, we are shown a flashback where Songruo says to Yahan, Moonan doesn't meet me. He ignores me. Yahan says, now should I solve your boring love story? Look, I will keep myself safe first. I will remove the Songruo group and collab with the Moo group. Now the scene comes to the present time, and Yahan says to Moonan, I want to talk to you about business. Ching thinks, this must be a new plan of Yahan's to take revenge. Then Moonan tells Ching to leave from there. Ching says, I thought no one would give you coffee, so I'll give you coffee. Now, whenever Yahan and Moonan try to talk, Ching comes in between and asks some question or the other. Then later, she spills coffee on Yahan's hands. Now Yahan gives Moonan a file, and Ching spills coffee on that file. Yahan gets angry, takes Ching from there, and enters an elevator. He asks Ching, first you told me to kill you and now you want to marry Moonan? Ching says, I like Moonan. When the elevator opens, we see Moonan standing near the elevator, and he says to Yahan, how can you take a girl from my company like this? Then Yahan leaves from there, and Moonan asks, I heard you like me? Ching says, I said that in jest. Moonan says, you talked about marriage. I am ready to marry you. Ching says, let's get married tomorrow. Anyway, then Song Ruo asks Yahan, what happened? Did Moonan reject your cooperation proposal? Yahan says, no, he didn't reject it. Just then, Moonan arrives there, and seeing him, Song Ruo happily calls out to Moonan. But seeing Ching with Moonan, she asks, what are you doing here? Moonan says, you can't talk to her like that. Then Moonan snaps his fingers, and a cake and a ring appear. He puts the ring on Ching. At this, Song Ruo gets angry and pushes Ching, causing her to fall and hit her head. Song Ruo says to Moonan, my only wish was to be your wife. Now Moonan and Song Ruo start to fight, so Yahan goes to Ching and says, now until Moonan picks you up, will you not get up? You weren't like this. Then he asks, are you in pain? Ching thinks that if she tells Yahan the truth, he will laugh at her. But in the end, tears come to Ching's eyes, which Yahan wipes away and says, you'll be fine after a little treatment. Just then, Song Ruo again goes to attack Ching with a knife, but Yahan puts his hand forward, injuring his hand, and blood starts to come out of it. Now later, Song Ruo comes to Ching and says, I told you to stay away from Moonan, didn't I? Then she slaps Ching. So Ching now starts slapping her back and says, don't compete with me. I have a lot of experience. I can be a better villain. So then Song Ruo starts shouting, Ching is hitting me Moonan. Now Moonan comes there, and seeing him, Ching falls under the table. Seeing her in this state, Moonan gets angry at Song Ruo. Then he goes outside and his mom says to him, you will not marry Ching. Saying this, she throws coffee on Moonan. On that side, Song Ruo comes to Yahan's house. She gives Yahan a knife and says, you have to kill Ching. Yahan says, have you gone mad? Song Ruo says, if you don't do this, I will make everyone listen to this recording. And then we see Yahan slowly moving his hand towards the knife. After this, we see Ching in a wedding dress, and Yahan has also reached the wedding location. Here, two of Moonan's aunts come to Ching. One aunt says, you are not even that pretty, yet Moonan is marrying you. Ching thinks, as long as I am away from Moonan, I can talk back to them. Ching says, you are not as pretty as Moonan said either. At this, the aunt gets angry at Ching. Then, another of Moonan's aunts comes and says, fill in an amount on this blank check. Ching writes the amount of 0.999 billion on that check. The aunt says, are you blackmailing me? Moonan is a rich CEO, and you are a poor girl. Ching says, I am poor. Moonan is allergic to girls, yet he is marrying me. So on this point, all the points should go to me, right? Now, Moonan's aunt starts to badmouth Ching, so Moonan comes there and says to his aunt, if you have come to see the wedding, that's fine. But if you have come to create a scene, then you can leave from here. Then his aunt leaves from there. On that side, Song Ruo mixes something in a cup. After this, Moonan's mom comes and says to Song Ruo, I have stolen this family heirloom from Moonan's room, and we will put the blame for this theft on Ching. This way, Moonan will not marry her. Then, Moonan's mom drinks water from that cup. Here, Moonan is drinking coffee. Since the coffee tastes bad, Ching puts a sweet candy in it. On the other side, after drinking the coffee, Moonan's mom faints. After some time, a girl comes and tells Ching, Moonan's mom is calling for Ching. Moonan says, I will also go with you in case my mom scolds you. Ching says, there is no need for that. Then she goes alone into a room, but no one is there, so she returns. After this, Yahan comes to the wedding with a knife and starts moving the knife towards Ching. Suddenly, everyone freezes and only Ching is able to move. Just then, a door opens here, and the drama's short director comes. He says, if you die in this drama, you will die forever. That's why you have to do something so that you can stay here forever. Ching says, but this is the director's fault for putting me in the wrong role, isn't it? Then that short director says, all right, I will tell the writer to change the plot for you. Then this short director leaves from there. Everyone starts to move and Ching says to Moonan, I cannot marry you. So Yahan removes the knife and starts to leave. Moonan asks, why won't you marry me? Ching says, I have cancer. Moonan says, we will get treatment from the Moo Group's doctor. Ching says, we are brother and sister, how can we get married? Moonan says, after me, no other child came into the family, so how are you my sister? Tell me the truth, what is the issue? Ching says, actually, I love Yahan. Then she goes and kisses Yahan and says in his ear, help me. Now Yahan says to Moonan, "Didn't you hear what she said?" After this, Moonan's mom's servant goes into Moonan's mom's room and sees that someone has killed her. She goes and tells Moonan about this. She says Ching must have killed her because she was the last one to go to her room. Now everyone arrives at the location. The servant says Ching could kill her because she had objections to Ching's marriage. Now, Song Ruo is not seen anywhere, so Yahan's assistant, Ying, catches her and brings her. Moonan's assistant says the CCTV footage has been destroyed. Song Ruo says, "I saw Ching and Mrs. Mu fighting. I found a family heirloom there." Moonan looks at the heirloom and says, "This is my family heirloom." Song Ruo started saying, "I went to save Mrs. Mu, but Ching pushed me. I got scared that Ching might kill me." Then she says to Ching, "Will you still lie now?" Just then, Moonan's aunts come there and say, Ching must have done everything. Now, in the meantime, Yahan's assistant sets off a fire alarm in a room, which gives everyone an alarm that there is a fire somewhere. Now, slowly, the other people start to leave from here. Only a few people are here. Now, Song Ruo tells Moonan's assistant to catch Ching. Yahan stops him. Then he holds Ching's hand and is taking her away. Just then, Song Ruo stabs Ching's hand with an injection. Now here, Yahan is fighting with Moonan. And then when he turns around, he sees Ching is about to faint. He picks up Ching and takes her to the hospital. Anyway, then he asks Ching, "What you said there about liking me?" Ching says, "I said that to escape from there." Yahan gets angry and places a bottle on the table. Ching says, "Don't be angry with me." Now the doctor comes and asks Ching, "Did you feel anything other than feeling dizzy?" Ching says, "Nothing." Then Ying says, "Ching, change your dress." Yahan says, "Anyway, you don't look good in this wedding dress." Then Ching changes her dress and is with the doctor, saying, "Looks like you ate in a big hurry." Then the doctor wipes the food from his mouth and puts the same hand on his dress. This makes Ching suspicious, and she runs away from there. Here, Yahan also gets suspicious of this doctor. He asks Ying, "Where did you find the doctor?" Ying says, "He was standing right outside. He came to help on his own." Yahan asks, "Does that mean you didn't tell him Ching's name?" Then who told him Ching's name? Now Ching is hiding in a room where the doctor brings Ching. He says, "If you keep hiding from me, I will kill your brother." Now Ching starts talking to the doctor. Here, suddenly, Yahan shifts and reaches a seminar. On that side, Chung wakes up and hits the doctor from behind. Over there, Song Ruo calls Yahan and says, "If you sign the contract with the song company, I will suppress the matter of your recording forever. But if you don't do so, I will kill Chung." Now Yahan starts to leave from there, but is unable to do so. Over there, the doctor makes the brother and sister unconscious from behind. Then, Song Ruo starts talking to Ching. Ching starts to open her rope with a small knife she has in her hand. She says, "You killed Auntie?" Song Ruo says, "I killed her to kill you?" Now Ching opens the rope and holds that knife to Song Ruo's neck. Song Ruo says, "The lead role doesn't kill anyone, does she? You took my life, now I will take your life." After this, Song Ruo says, "When you were talking to the director, I overheard your conversation. You wanted to play the role of Song Ruo, and the role of taking a life belongs to a sporty character, like Song Ruo's." She further says, "I have also stuck Yahan in a scene, and now I will kill you." Here, it is shown in a flashback how Song Ruo killed Moonan's mom and took the cup from the death location. Then she also removed all the footage from the CCTV room. On that side, Yahan wants to get out of his stuck situation. He tries very hard and stands up, and then he says into the mic, "I am the illegitimate son of the Mu family." Here, Song Ruo is about to kill Ching with a knife when Yahan comes in between, and he gets injured by that knife. Yahan says to Song Ruo, "What did you think? You wouldn't die?" Then he stabs Song Ruo's own injection into her neck, and he himself starts to fall. Ching asks, "Why did you come to save me?" Yahan says, "When you falsely told me I like you, I think I took it seriously." Now, seeing Yahan weakening, Ching starts calling him, and hearing Ching's voice, Chung comes there. Then they all take Yahan in Ying's car. Now they all find out that Yahan has revealed his identity. Chung says to take Yahan to a cheap hotel. Ying says, "For now, we have to keep Yahan here and bandage him." Then he says, "I have been working with Yahan since childhood. He has always said that he will snatch everything from Moonan. So why did he reveal his identity now?" Then he says, "Anyway, now Yahan needs rest." Ching says, "You all go. I will sit with him." On that side, Moonan is thinking about Yahan's identity reveal. Just then, his assistant comes and tells him, Ching's brother Cheng has been missing for 4 days. Now Yahan is also missing. Just then, Song Ruo's father comes there, and he talks to Moonan about Chung. Moonan asks, "How do you know Chung? Do you have a hand in all this?" Song Ruo's father says, "You don't trust me? Ching is the one who killed your mom." Moonan says, "There is no evidence of this." Song Ruo's father asks, "Why don't you marry me?" Moonan says, "Even if Ching hadn't come, I still wouldn't have married you." On that side, Yahan regains consciousness and asks, "Where am I?" Ching says, we brought you to a cheap hotel. Yahan says, why did I save you? Ching says, I know. You came to apologize to me. If I hadn't recorded your words, you wouldn't have worked for Song Ruo. After this, they go to eat. On that side, Moonan is looking at the cups. One cup is missing from there. He tells his assistant, where did one cup go? Ask the servants. But they shouldn't know that I am asking this because of Mom's death. Over there, the news spreads that Ching has killed Mrs. Mu and the police are looking for her. Now Yahan sees that the police are nearby. He hides with Ching, and over there, the police ask a shop owner, have you seen Ching? The shop owner says no. Here, Ching gets scared and rests her head on Yahan's chest, where she can hear his heartbeat. His heartbeat is very fast, so Ching asks, are you about to have a heart attack? Now Yahan goes to the shop owner who is present there. He buys something from the shop owner. Just then, the shop owner asks for his phone number and says, you surely don't have a girlfriend. Ching is secretly listening to this, so she comes there and says to Yahan, honey, what is taking you so long? Now Yahan smiles and leaves from there. Later, we see Yahan and Moonan. Actually, Moonan had called Yahan. Moonan says, I think Song Ruo killed Mom, but how do I prove it? Yahan says, you call her by saying that you are going to get engaged to her. Then Moonan leaves from there, so Ying comes to Yahan and says, why did you give such a suggestion? Anyway, then we see Song Ruo in a room where Yahan comes. Song Ruo says, why have you come here? Yahan says, so you killed Mrs. Mu. Now Song Ruo shows a device and says, I have deleted the recording from this. Now the data cannot be recovered. Then she says, do you really like Ching? Yahan says, that's none of your business. Here, Ying, Ching, and Chung are listening to the conversation inside the room by putting a cup against the wall outside the room. Now inside the room, Song Ruo asks Yahan the same question again. So Yahan says, when she is not with me, I miss her and I can't see her with anyone else. At this, Song Ruo laughs. She says, after some time you will laugh at yourself for liking Ching. By the way, everyone likes Ching. Then she picks up a knife and is about to kill Yahan when Moonan comes into the room. Song Ruo throws her knife and she goes to Moonan. But Moonan pulls his hand away and stands with Yahan. Yahan says, you said the recording in this device could not be recovered, right? We went to your house and collected evidence. We found that cup there and it has your fingerprint on it. Just then, the police arrive there and arrest Song Ruo. Now Song Ruo says to Ching, you cannot love anyone other than the male lead. I heard you talking to your comic director. Ching says, you are right, I have forgotten the very meaning of coming here. After this, Ying disappears, and Yahan's hand starts to disappear a little. Ching says to Ching, you have to go with Ying and find Yahan. Ching says, who is Ying? Ching says, this means you have forgotten Yahan too. Then Ching goes out to find Yahan. Yahan's memories start to fade from her mind, so she says, Yahan, I don't want to forget you. I just realized that I love you. Just then, Yahan comes from behind and says, what did you say? Ching says nothing, walks towards Yahan and kisses him. Then she's about to say, but Yahan kisses her. Then he says, let's go home. Just then, Moonan arrives there. Yahan tells Ching, I have more money than him now, and my taste is also better than his. Now Ching goes to Moonan and says, I only love Yahan. We can be friends. Moonan says, I love you? How can I make you a friend? After this, we see Chung, who makes Yahan and Ching sit in one place and says, I brought you two together. He further says, and you both left me outside for 3 hours? Yahan says, but I have brought you home now, haven't I? Now Chung says, I am the only family member from my sister's side. I have to test Yahan. Ching says, do it tomorrow morning, we have to go to sleep now. At night, when Chung is asleep, Yahan comes into Ching's room and says, I have a stomach ache. Ching says, let's go to the doctor. Yahan says, there's no need. I'll just rest for a bit, and it will be fine. From this, Ching understands that Yahan is not in any pain. Then, Yahan pulls Ching towards him. Then he lays Ching on the bed and gets on top of her. And then Ching says, if this world disappears, you won't forget me, will you? Yahan says, no, let's make some good memories now. Then he kisses Ching. Ching says, you're not in pain now? Yahan says, no, it got better after kissing. You should try kissing too. Now they both kiss, and Yahan pulls a blanket over himself and Ching. The next day, they both go shopping where Yahan asks the shop owner for a diamond ring. Here, Ching is eating an ice cream when a child comes and says, will you give me your ice cream? I want to taste its flavor. Now Ching is not willing to give him the ice cream because the child also has an ice cream in his hand which he doesn't want to share with Ching. Now that child says to Ching, that's why you don't have a boyfriend. Just then, Yahan comes up behind the child, takes the ice cream from the child's hand, and takes Ching away from there. At home, Ching gives Chung a key, and Chung goes outside and sees that a cycle has been brought for him. He becomes very happy. Just then, Ching calls him and says, come quickly. Chung goes and sees that Ching has just called him to select a dress. Then when Chung goes out of the room, Yahan is sitting outside. Yahan sees that Chung has slowly disappeared. He quickly goes to see Ching, and Ching is in the room. When he goes to put a necklace on Ching, Ching's hand starts to disappear. Yahan remembers what Song Ruo had said. If Ching loves another boy who is not the male lead, then she will disappear from this world. So the necklace falls from Yahan's hand and breaks. Yahan says, I remembered some work. I am going. And Chung has gone for a bike ride. After this, Ching is sitting at a table. Moonan comes there. Seeing him, Ching is surprised because, actually, Yahan was supposed to come there. Now Moonan says, I talked to Yahan last night. I told him I would make you the CEO of the company if you leave Ching, and he agreed. Just then, Yahan comes there, so Ching goes to him and says, look what he's saying. Yahan says, he's telling the truth. You go back to Moonan. Now Ching says to Yahan, you must be doing this for some reason. I trust you. Yahan says, I have lost a lot for you. Now I am going to take all those things back. Then he says to Moonan, you remember your promise, don't you? Saying this, he gets into his car. Now, in a flashback, it is shown that Moonan is telling Yahan, I cannot hurt Ching. Yahan says, as an elder brother, I am telling you this. Now Moonan has to obey Yahan's words. The scene comes to the present time, and Ching goes to Yahan. She is about to fall, and Yahan goes to catch her, but his hand starts to become invisible, so Ching falls. Ching says, you were supposed to save me. Yahan says, why should I save you? Moonan is there for you, isn't he? Then he says, I am leaving this place forever. Then he leaves from there. Ching goes after him and says, you can't leave me. Look into my eyes and say that you don't like me. At this, Yahan looks into Ching's eyes and says, I don't like you. Then he takes his car and leaves from there. But inside the car, he is crying. Anyway, after this, we see Ching, who has gone to Moonan's house. Moonan tells her, when you said we were going to get married, I thought everything would start from the beginning. But when you said we are not going to get married, then I thought nothing can happen between us. Then Ching says, my brother is at Yahan's house. You have to bring my brother. Moonan says, who is your brother? Now Ching calls Chung's university and asks about Chung. So the university people say, there is no student named Chung here. On the other side, Yahan starts to disappear. Ching understands that what Song Ruo had said about the story is happening. Everyone is disappearing. She says to Moonan, Yahan did not fulfill his revenge story. That's why he is disappearing. Then she asks Moonan, will you help me? Moonan says yes. Now here, Yahan comes back from disappearing. He returns to his original form. And then he reaches the wedding scene of Moonan and Ching, where there is no one else besides the three of them. Now Moonan starts to step back and says to Ching, this is the last time I am helping you. Then he leaves from there. Now Ching says to Yahan, kill me so that the story can end. Yahan doesn't want to do this and tries to stop himself, which causes blood to come out of his mouth. Now Ching goes to him and starts to take the knife from his hand, but Yahan turns that knife towards himself, which injures him with that knife. And then he dies, and Ching remains sitting right there. Now again, the beginning of the drama is shown where Ching is now acting in Song Ruo's character. She goes towards Moonan's room and suddenly remembers Yahan, and she goes to Yahan's room and is able to see him. She goes and asks Yahan, don't you remember who I am? Then she kisses Yahan. Now she starts to leave, but Yahan holds her hand and says, only you can play this villain's role in a good way. Then he starts to kiss Ching, and with this, the drama has a happy ending.